Aha! Old owl, said Pugachev, so God again brings us together. Here, seat yourself in front. Thanks, Tsar, thanks my own father, replied Savaliyich, taking his seat. May God give you 100 years of life for having reassured a poor old man. I shall pray God all my life for you, and I'll never talk about the hareskin touloup. This hareskin touloup might end at last by making Pugachev seriously angry. But the usurper either did not hear or pretended not to hear this ill-judged remark. The horses again galloped. The people stopped in the street, and each one saluted us, bowing low. Pugachev bent his head right and left. In a moment we were out of the village and were taking our course over a well-marked road. What I felt may be easily imagined. In a few hours I should see again her whom I had thought lost to me forever. I imagined to myself the moment of our reunion, but I also thought of the man in whose hands lay my destiny, and whom a strange concourse of events bound to me by a mysterious link. I recalled the rough cruelty and bloody habits of him who was disposed to prove the defender of my love. Pugachev did not know she was the daughter of Captain Myrnov. Shvabrine, driven to bay, was capable of telling him all, and Pugachev might learn the truth in other ways. Then, what would become of Marya? At this thought a shudder ran through my body, and my hair seemed to stand on end. All at once Pugachev broke upon my reflections. "What does your lordship," said he, "deign to think about?" "How can you expect me to be thinking?" replied I. "I am an officer and a gentleman, but yesterday I was waging war with you, and now I am traveling with you in the same carriage, and the whole happiness of my life depends on you." "What," said Pugachev, "are you afraid?" I made reply that having already received my life at his hands, I trusted not merely in his good nature but in his help. "And you are right, for God, you are right," resumed the usurper, "you saw that my merry men looked askance at you. Even today the little old man wanted to prove indubitably to me that you were a spy, and should be put to the torture and hung. But I would not agree," added he, lowering his voice, "lest Savaliyich and the Tartar should hear him, because I bore in mind your glass of wine and your touloup." You see clearly that I am not bloodthirsty, as your comrades would make out. Remembering the taking of Fort Belogorsk, I did not think wise to contradict him, and I said nothing. What do they say of me in Orenburg? Asked Pugachev, after a short silence. Well, it is said that you are not easy to get the better of. You will agree we have had our hands full with you. The face of the usurper expressed the satisfaction of self-love. Yes, said he, with a glorious air. I am a great warrior. Do they know in Orenburg of the Battle of Juzaev? 40 generals were killed, 4 armies made prisoners. Do you think the King of Prussia is about my strength? This boasting of the robber rather amused me. What do you think yourself? I said to him. Could you beat Frederick? Fedor Fedorovich, eh? Why not? I can beat your generals, and your generals have beaten him. Until now my arms have been victorious. Wait a bit, only wait a bit, you'll see something when I shall march on Moscow. And you are thinking of marching on Moscow? The usurper appeared to reflect. Then he said, half aloud. God knows my way is straight. I have little freedom of action. My fellows don't obey me, they are marauders. I have to keep a sharp lookout, at the first reverse they would save their necks with my head. Well, I said to Pugachev, would it not be better to forsake them yourself, ere it be too late, and throw yourself on the mercy of the Tsarina? Pugachev smiled bitterly. No, said he, the day of repentance is past and gone, they will not give me grace. I must go on as I have begun. Who knows? It may be. Grishka Otrepiev certainly became Tsar at Moscow. But do you know his end? He was cast out of a window, he was massacred, burnt, and his ashes blown abroad at the cannon's mouth, to the 4 winds of heaven. The Tartar began to hum a plaintive song. Savaliyich, fast asleep, oscillated from one side to the other. Our kibitka was passing quickly over the wintry road. All at once I saw a little village I knew well, with a palisade and a belfry, on the rugged bank of the Yaik. A quarter of an hour afterwards we were entering Fort Belogorsk. Chapter 12 The Orphan. The kibitka stopped before the door of the commandant's house. The inhabitants had recognized the little bell of Pugachev's team, and had assembled in a crowd. Shvabrin came to meet the usurper. He was dressed as a Cossack, and had allowed his beard to grow.